once. Okay, everyone here. Nice. How can I not admit more? Hi, Alison. Notice in. Let everyone in. I think I've got everyone in. All right. So firstly, Jason, did you end up fixing your back end? You end up fixing that deposit?
Yeah. I stuffed it up.
Right. Now, that's one thing I just will bring up now. So in terms of funding, I've only personally done funding via crypto when it comes to funding the Pocket Options account. Now, for those who are like relatively new and working their way through the Academy series, because we've all come from different, I'm dark, sorry. We've all come from different way through. So some people have already done the Academy, some people haven't, some people are brand new, whatever. With that, I know Pocket Options doesn't get spoken about in the Academy series. The reason why we chose Pocket Options, I know there's a few of us that were doing the other one, which was, what was it called again, Joey? I forgot what it was called again, but anyway, it doesn't.
Void Forex.
Oh, that's right, Void. It just, I didn't like how it didn't have a demo account. It was super slow. There we are. Thanks, Danny. Super slow, and I found it buggy. Like you hit a place trade order, and it'd be like 1 to 2 second little lag, and I wasn't a fan of that. And yeah. So that's why we went over to Pocket Options. So for those that are going through the Academy and just wondering why there isn't, because I had a few people ask about that, that is the reason why. We also found it to be the best for here in Aussie. And with tonight, I know Jess said she was going to be on. She's not, so that's fine. I think she's on.
I am.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't see her. How you going, Jess? Oh, you could have given me some chat before. No one was talking to me.
I was just letting everyone else have a turn. I didn't know if anyone else wanted to talk tonight, so I just given the floor,
Yeah, no, of course.
But I'm here.
So obviously myself and Jess, we were, and also Danny as well. No, Danny, do you want to just unmute yourself and say hello? Just because we have a few people that don't know who you are, I think, and obviously you went on the call last week. Happy birthday for last week again.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was on the call last week. I've been doing HFX since about April or May. I do a strategy that's very similar to what Dom's doing as well. So
awesome. And so basically what happened going forward, myself, Jess, and Danny will be looking at doing like just have rotations with these things. Again, the reason why I want to keep it short is this form of trading is so goddamn simple. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. Just follow the structures. I find that the ones that are not quite getting
Wait, Dom, are you recording?
Yeah, I have already recorded.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sharing any screen yet. Yeah, but I'm recording. The ones I find that do have issues so far, one, it definitely the mindset approach that you're coming to it. So making sure Tuesday nights, I know it's still they predominantly talk about smart money, but it's still mindset philosophy. So getting on Mike and SJ's calls on a Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Melbourne is so goddamn important, because the ones again that aren't quite adapting to this is good because they're coming from a different state of mind where basically they need this as an income. Right. And when you do need it to pay yourself a daily wage, you're coming from that slight scarce mentality. So like this has to work, this has to work, this has to work, and rushing the process. You know, this method is really beneficial when you're getting it right. But at the same time, because the risk to reward is crap, okay, unless you're doing your 2%, because you can change on Pocket Options. Instead of choosing a dollar amount, you can choose a percentage amount. But in reality, like we are risking 100% of a trade profit to only be gaining 80%, 90%. You know, whereas the other form of trading, it's flipped around the other way. It's a lot slower. It's a lot longer process to learn. But, you know, you only have a risk 2% of our account to gain, you know, 7, 8, 10, 12, whatever it is, that depending on where you're trying to get on your compound growth. So keeping that in mind. So that's why I just wanted to just be aware, if you know what you're trying to get out of this is probably my main purpose of it. Because yes, you can make money quick. It's nice. You open up a demo account, you're doing $1,000 lot sizes, you do a trade, you make 900, 800 bucks. You're like, holy shit, you know, I could never do that in smart money straight away. You know, not within 30 seconds. Just remember that that's really important, the precipice of where you're coming from. And so we're going to have a little bit of chat on the compounding, some things which Jess is going to have a little bit of a chat about tonight, because it's very, very important. And as well, because there's different methods. So there's one what I've spoken about by reinvesting your profits, and then you can flip really quite quickly because, you know, for example, if you have $10, you do a trade that's $8, that 80%, that's $8 profit, then you go again in with 18. But obviously if you get that wrong, then you're not actually ever growing your account. And if you're new and you're only getting 50% trade accuracy, where you get one right, one wrong, one right, one wrong, you're literally not going to go anywhere. So my method, which is a bit more aggressive, you know, I'm usually getting around about 90% accuracy. So therefore 1 out of 5 or, you know, 9 out of 10. So if I happen to get one wrong, for me, I never get 2 wrong, or very rarely do I get 2 wrong in a row, touch wood. And so what I do is on the one that I do get wrong, I then triple the next trade. So whatever my trade amount was, so for example, $100, if I retrade again, re-enter at 300, not only do I make my profit back, but I'm still in surplus. So, but again, that's because I've been doing this. So I've done almost 10,000 trades now, demo trades, just to be able to, you know, in my eyes, perfect this as best we can. Because at the end of the day, we're still never going to perfect trading, because it is still across all markets, always there to be manipulated. But Jess, can you just quickly have a quick chat about, you know, because you grew your account really quickly, and I was super stoked how quickly you applied yourself to that, because you picked it up a lot faster than me after all the, you know, the trials and errors that I was going through. So do you want to just touch on a little bit about how you went through yours?
Yeah. I think a lot of people, I know since I've been in and the people I've helped, there's a lot of confusion around like how much they should be trading. The thing when you're very first starting, especially in your demo account, it's not really about the amount, because if you think of it, it's just a different lot size, right? So when you're starting, you really want to be doing it in a way that you can grow your account, but you're also not, if you lose that one trade, basically having to fund your account again. That's not what we're about. If you're going to do that, you're better off going to a slot machine and gamble, really. With this, we really want you to be able to make money, but also sustain it. So like for me personally, like going off a 70% win, say you started your first trade at $10, right? So I had $200 in my trading account and my first trade was $15. So instead of trading that $200 or $100, I went super small so I could like just compound it. But I did a lot of trading. I also, when I was in the demo account, worked out how many trades I did before my mindset shifted and I started to lose. So if you're doing enough trade, you'll start to realize when you get into a mentality of either your ego of going, oh my God, yes, like I'm going to smash this, or you're going from a place and you're just rushing into your entries. So if you're still in this place and you find that you keep losing all the time, I would go back to your demo account and just smash out your demo account until you get yourself in that consistent rhythm. Like I won, I think 15 trades in a row before I started my live account, right? So for me, when I was compounding, a few things to think about is obviously, I know there's a lot of people on here that are really wanting fast results, but you also have to remember that trading is a process. So it is 90% mindset. So like Dom said, the Tuesday night calls are phenomenal. I put the one in from Tuesday this week because I got so much out of it. I've done personal development stuff for like 10 years and it was really, really good. So if you haven't watched that, I really highly recommend you take the time to. But yeah, the first thing is really finding your numbers. Like this is why it's really good to be in touch with whoever got you into this. And, you know, when you're going through your trades or even on these calls, like let us know, like maybe it's like for me, like Dom said, like if I lose my first trade, I would trade less when I first started, when I didn't have a lot of money in my account. Now I trade double like he does. So it's a bit more riskier. So as in if I lose a trade, and it was $100, I would do a $200 trade next time. But when I was very first starting, say I had, I don't know, $150 in there, my last win was $30. Instead of just trading the higher one up, because I've lost, I would trade the lower one. So I just sort of kept stacking it. Does that make sense? So for example, say my first trade was $10, was at 70%, I made $7. So my next trade would be $17. Then my next trade would be $24. And I just literally went through that. So if you don't know how to access that, you go into your trades, if you're all using pocket options. It's really easy to find, but it will have closed trades. It will show you exactly how much percentage it is, how much you've put in there. So I just had like a spreadsheet, or you can just write it on a piece of paper, however you want to do it. And I would put that in, and I just stacked it, and then I could see the compound. Like $7 doesn't sound like a lot, but I literally turned my account from 200 to 2,000 in 2 weeks by doing that, just consistently. And what I found for myself, for my mindset, was when I lost a trade, I was losing winnings. I wasn't losing my own money. So I found I won a lot more trades, because if I did lose, it was just like, okay, cool, that's just a little step back. And if I lost twice, I didn't trade that day. That's just what I did. Because a lot of the time you're losing, it's because either you're rushed, you're forcing yourself to trade, your mentality, maybe there's stuff going on in the world and in your life. Like, trading really is psychology stuff. And when you really get that, and that's why I feel like I've done well, because I do a lot of work on my mindset. It's not so much like I'm super still new to HFX. A lot of you have been doing HFX a lot longer than me. But because I understood the mindset, I just, that risk management, and just compounded little bits by little bits and kept doing that and tracking. So I knew exactly, okay, this trade is $34. This next trade will be $42. That's what I did. And yeah, trying with your entries as well. So like when you're going in, if you are losing, like looking at things like your timings. You know, I had a girl who had it set at 30 seconds for the candles, but was trading at 1 minute. So like these are little things. So if you're finding you're losing trades, like really start to look at why you're losing. Losing a trade is sometimes the best lesson. So anytime I lost a trade, I knew exactly why. It was either my entry or my timing or my mindset. Usually it was usually, sometimes market just gets you, that happens. But yeah, does anyone have any questions? Because I can obviously talk about this for a while, but is anyone compounding like that? Is anyone doing that? Has anyone got a plan in place, or you just smashing out 20 trades, winning 10, losing 10, and going forward, backwards, forwards, backwards? That's what I've heard a lot of. And it's great to smash out heaps of trades, but you've got to find there's going to be, it's like the thermostat of your frequency of money. There's always a block, right? There's as much money as you can make, and then all of a sudden this stuff starts happening. I found that with trading. So for me, I don't think I've traded more than 4 times at once. And I'm like the same, I'm like 85% win rate. So everyone will be different. There'll be a different number. Some people I know, like they do 3 trades and then they don't do the compounded thing. They'll just go, I'm going to do $100, and then boom, lose that. And then even though they would have made $30 that day or $40 that day, they've gone to that mentality and that ego space, and now they've lost $100 and now they're behind $60, right? So as you're building your account, when you get your account over $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, then yeah, you know, and you've done enough trades, and it's all about the trades. It's about doing as many trades as you can, like Dom says, until you sort of perfect it and you realize, okay, cool, this is working. Then you can up your trades higher. But again, just compounding. Like I could do a $5,000 trade right now, but my limit is 1,000, because that's what I feel comfortable at. But it's totally up to you. But I built myself from $15 to that.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Oh, thanks, girl.
Yeah.
With your, Danny, how you just before we get into some more other specific stuff, like how are you going with yours in terms, because you've been doing it for a little bit now, and we actually haven't really spoken about it, but your growth.
Yeah. So I'm a bit of a mixed bag. So I originally started in trading doing Forex, so traditional Forex, in February, March. And then I moved over to HFX in about April, May. And then I wasn't doing the strategy that I'm using right now. I was using a strategy more around the Evan Cabral strategy and doing some other things that other people were doing that weren't necessarily mentors, but seemed to have really good results. Obviously, going down that pathway didn't work out for me, so I got a bit disheartened. So I ended up going back to Forex. Did that for a bit, made some money through Forex. And then when I kind of had that mindset around trading again, it kind of was a bit more healthy. That's not really a sentence. It was healthier. Then I actually just randomly came back onto pocket options, and it was like I could see the charts in a completely different way. And then I started doing some different stuff. And then ironically, I've kind of come into a very similar strategy to what you're doing. And I haven't even seen you trade, but when you were explaining your trades last week, I was like, that's exactly what I do with the little dots, the awesome oscillator and the stochastic and the RSI and stuff like that. So now I probably sit at around a 75, 80% strike rate. But I'm only compounding. So I'm trying to do something similar to what Jess did, where I could put in $1,000 or $2,000 and do larger trades if I was going to do 7% or something like that, or 10% of my account size. But I'd rather start with $200 and then start with 7 or 10% of that and build it up to a point where I have $2,000 or $3,000, because by the time I get to that sum of money, I have so many trades behind me. I have all these lessons behind me. I have all these different mindset issues I might have encountered on the way of building it. And so by the time I get to the point where I have that large sum of money and I'm making those larger trades, I pretty much have my mindset, my strategy and everything down pat, instead of just chucking in $2,000 and going for it.
And then it's not your money,
So-
right? It's money that you won anyway. So
Exactly.
you could have your own $2,000 in there. You've made 2,000. You now have 4,000. And then
Yeah.
if you lose some, it's like mental. Like for me, that was so good for my mental like space. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like coming from a place like, am I going to lose today? Am I going to win today? It was just like, cool, I'm trading today. And it's like,
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean? So that's awesome.
Yeah, really cool, really cool. So that, and like I did get asked the question by one of people in the team, and that was just like, was it better to start off with a bigger amount and a lesser amount? And it does really come down to yourself personally. With us that have gone through FRX, we know the value of being able to basically take a little bit and turn into a lot through compound. So I will always say the lesser amount is better. But I think you do really need to make sure that your trading is on point and you are getting that 80 to 90% success ratio, because if you are only starting an account with $100 and you might do, well, let's say less, $50, like I do that as a daily wage. I just try to make it, I do that as a challenge for myself, and also to showcase for everyone else that it is possible to turn $50 into say 3, 4, 500, depending on what it is that I want to go for, how the markets are moving. And I'm relatively doing that 3 times a week consistently, and that's basically just starting with $10 lot size, $10 the first size, and then continuing to compound. But for someone else, if you're going in, you get 2 wrong, bang, 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 you're down 10, down 2. It just becomes hard if you've got only a little bit in there, because you can't increase your trade size going again, then you start doubting. And yeah, I've just seen people blow very quickly. So, just the biggest thing is making sure as well that you don't sit down and just try to do a trade within 2 minutes. Like, it's very easy because you sit down, you're like, oh, I can see what's going on there. And I see a lot of them, because I'm getting a lot of my students just to be like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. And then just sit down on the charts, let me see what you're doing. People are trying to place a trade straight away. Like, I've got a rule that when I do sit down, I've got to do at least 20 minutes of just analysis, see where things are going, how things are tracking, have a look on Liberty as well. Very important. Go change Liberty from the 1 minute to the 5 minutes so I can identify. Because remember, Liberty, basically, guys, I'm no longer using TradingView. And I'll just bring up Liberty just for some, because I know we're all at different stages. So Liberty, did that change to Liberty? Just so I know. Let me just do screen. Just to make sure.
Yeah.
With the Liberty, this is the one I find has been the best indicator for those who didn't see on last week's call. If you click strategies here, pop up, there's 4 different ones to choose from. These are preloaded strategies that are already on as part of your subscription cost to IM. It's why I still stay active with my membership, because this is making my trading, just give me those extra confirmations. And this tends to move a lot better than pocket options. In the day, pocket options is a secondary broker. It's an automated system. This just works a hell of a lot better and a lot faster, and I can just get a bit more instant results. And look, you do get the odd occasion where you'll actually get a notification. There's one which actually show you constant buy and sells. I think that was the first one, Simple Scalper. But it's just sometimes I noticed that they would be a little bit just like too all over the place. You'd see heaps of, and just threw my mind a lot. Whereas here we can clearly see with this candle that got printed here, a nice big buy shows, and we had nothing but upward momentum in that price action. So sometimes, and even for that sell, that one was actually a really good one. I was just watching before we got on the call, and as you can see, my just bread and butter, we penetrated the Bollinger Bands. Yes, it wasn't quite an engulfing candle, but we can see that we come well and truly above. If we zoom out, we came to that 50% of that previous, for our smart money concept people, this was our previous institutional area. There was imbalance here. This broke the structure of previous, so we broke low. So that was an area where I know we need to come back to mitigate to. We came back up, pretty much bang on the open into a slight there, into that, fill that imbalance, came in for a quick sell. It was oversold. Sorry, bought, and then on the pocket options as well had the same indicators. That was awesome. So short little trade. Now, because as we can see, we had our consolidating market, so we were going sideways. We've now flipped bullish. We were bullish in that trend, but I could see that we were now in that bullish market. So that Bollinger Band, now we ignore the bottom of the Bollinger Band because I didn't see it as being an area where it bounced. So based on me knowing that, I reduced my trade time, very important. And I go in just for a short 2-minute trade. Obviously 1-2, we cleared easily, because knowing essentially when you come onto pocket options and you see, are we bullish, are we bearish, are we consolidating, that will dictate the time and length of my trades. It's one thing you need to be aware of. And also when we are going into a bullish or bearish market, I don't usually try to counter trend trade. I don't really focus on the bounces. This is the next level of trading that I do, which I don't want you to sort of focus on yet if you're just brand new. If you're brand new, I really want you to just focus on the bouncing of the Bollinger Bands and try to trade through consolidating markets when it's just going sideways, which generally during the day, when there's less volatility going through, less liquidity in the markets, it does tend to move a lot slower and does get nice bounces through the Bollinger Bands. Whereas at night, obviously when we get close to our hourly closes, our opens of our New York and our London, it bounces up, and that's when you get some crazy volatility, and it just becomes a lot more a bit too static for me. So I don't tend to do it, but if I do it, I will. And I'll do what I've kind of come up with, like scalping. I don't know if that's the right term or not, but it's just essentially trading with the trend. So for example, here, knowing that EMA is now the bottom of the Bollinger Band now for me, and we're in a bullish market, volume's coming up. We've got nice big blue candles here, which is increasing the volume. I'll do a short 30-second trade and then pinch hit on this movement up, and you see it quite a lot heading towards hourly closes to the upside or to the downside. So that's that there. But what I want to just come back to the compounding stuff just quickly for those who aren't aware, because I know there's some people that have only just gone through the academy stuff or just making their way through. So when you're obviously in the IM Center, you click academies and you're in the academy part. Instead of clicking academy, it's just a couple down. There's a place, there's a button called go live. And this is it here. I'll just go back so then we know what we're looking at, because some haven't seen this. So obviously our go live education is another element. That's why I still keep my membership active, because we can come on and listen to the educators who are doing all the stuff. We've got all the educators here that do HFX. Now, one thing I will point out is my method that I don't want to call it my method, but the method that I've come up with at the moment in terms of the combining the two, I just don't see anyone doing anything exactly like this, and not through via pocket options. So, that's why, feel free to ask me more questions. It's something that I've just found a happy medium with everything. And again, like I said, it's just because I've come across from FRX and going over to HFX, and a lot of us have done the same. So you combine the both together, and that's how I was able to get it really quickly. But I don't deviate, don't overthink, just follow what's been taught out, and you'll really do really well. But with the compounding stuff, that's really important. And I know a lot of ones the couple that are having issues at the moment, I want you to come on to Evan's channel here and go to his favorite sessions. So for those who are unaware, basically if someone's live, like if he was live right now, it'd be like a Zoom, that would automatically be playing, and he'll be showing you his charts. He'll call live charts. Evan does that all the time. He's got a money make session where he literally calls live trades. There's a chat box there. You can ask them questions. You can send them chart pictures. If you weren't sure, they always get back to you. Every session that they've ever done stays recorded, goes on here. Obviously with HFX stuff, it's instant. Ideally, you want to be on live. Because obviously you'll miss the live calls, but still good to go back and have a bit of a squiz. They also have their favorite sessions. I recommend everyone here to go back and have a look at compounding method and compounding trading plan that he goes through. These are in the academy program. Some of them would have gone through, but if you want a refresher, go back to it. That way it's just specific on those, and go through his candle structure, candlestick training. Candles, understanding how a candle prints in this method has never been more important. And because we're dealing with a 1 minute time frame, there'll be times where I'm looking for my entry and I'll literally wait for that slight, and I'll give us an example so you can visually see it better on Liberty. Like, because if we're doing like right now, right, prime example, we can see we had a huge push down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band, but just understanding market candles here, this is shit. Like, you're obviously not really going to enter it, but if this was those doji candles, like I can see from this that we still obviously want to push down for a variety of reasons. One, we broke that because we were creating that Bollinger Band was our support, resistance. So we're bouncing off the EMA. not the Bollinger Band, ignore me. Bounce, bounce, bounce. We now broke through. There's times where I'll trade through the Bollinger Band. If I can get a nice strong candle that'll close through the Bollinger Band, it means I know we're going to go to the bottom. I mean the EMA, so I'll trade it. But as you can see here, a nice big strong push down, and then we've had just shit price action. These doji candles, when you understand what a candle is, obviously it's just sitting in the middle, it's just doing some consolidating. But when we see ones where, say, for example, if all those blue wicks were only to the upside, that shows that price try to go up, reject, try to go up, reject, try to go up, reject. And then generally with that, that's when we see the sharp fall away. Now, how can we always see that confluence as well? Now, this will be a little mini liquidity sweep because the FRX concepts still apply here. So we've got pending order sitting here and here. Up and downside, you might see a quick spike up because there's a little bit imbalance just above this candle here. So a quick swipe up, grab liquidity, and then continue its downward move. The concepts still apply on the 1 minute. We know through our FRX trading, they always say, well, Zach says it all the time, whatever's happening on the daily still happens on the 1 minute. You know, Mike does a lot of 5-minute trades as well. Mike Nevada, I always forget how to say his last name. So understanding how your candles, if the guys are new, what a candle's printing is really, really important. And, you know, you can obviously see sell signals popping up here. This just shows it's just about waiting for the right moment. It's pretty crappy that you see those print. Oh, that's because we AUD and NSD. That's why. It's like, why you don't often see that on the main pairs, but that's just what that is. Any other questions? Because I'm going to go for a little bit longer, but I just want questions on that so far. Surely there's got to be some. I'm looking at here and here.
So when you said you look on the charts for 20 minutes or whatever before you start, how does that work when the pairs change percentage all the time?
Yeah, so that's obviously another one. It's just to see market flow and understand. Now, knowing what my time frame is, as in my normal trading window, I know which ones stay because I've been doing it for a while now. It's repetitive. So at nighttime, because we're going London, New York, Euro USD pays the most predominantly from like now, generally. Yes, it might get a slight little from instead of 92, it might be 87, but it's predominantly around the high 80s to low 90s most of the night. So I do generally trade the same pairs, but still, yes, that's a good question. So that's why I make sure I have keep for refreshing pocket options. But it's just to sort of see a market flow, understand, do a little bit of back testing in terms of, okay, what's been happening in this particular pair? Are we doing lots of little candles? Is there a lot of wicks? I try to stay away from the real wickiness of certain pairs. My euro, anything yen related tends to be very wicky. And on the 1 minute time frame with these trades, not a huge fan of it because you know it's just so spasmodic. Yeah, so you know, is the last few candles that have printed, have they all been nice big full ones, not too much wicks going on? Then I'm going to look to enter that. So it's just basically going through the pairs, having a bit of a squeeze, looking also on here on the 5 minute. You know, clearly we can see now we've moved into a downtrend, but I just want to know and get confluence. I like to look between the 1 and 5 because we can see where we're actually heading. Now we're actually wanting to go down at the moment. And you can draw on this just like TradingView, which is why I've pretty much gotten rid of TradingView and just use this because of all the preloaded indicators. And we're literally paying for it already. So what's the point of paying for another membership on another platform when we've already got this included? So that's that one. Any other questions?
Yeah. So when you do a continuation trade on the middle line, the moving average or whatever, do you use the indicators as well, or you just do that based off price action?
That one's probably more price action because it's a lot faster. So like right now, like are we breaking through? So if this candle closes above and we don't have too much rejection wick, and also seeing these indicators onto the downside as well. So for those who aren't aware of these indicators, as I explained that, essentially I did go through it a little bit last week, but when the waves are on the top here, that's essentially mean we are in a bullish current environment. And if the candlestick is blue, that means that that's how much volume. It's obviously to the positive. The bulls are in control, and how much. So we can see the bigger the candlestick, the bigger the candle movement. So, and what you'll generally see is it does make a bit more like a wave, like a mountain. So you'll see that slowly go up, a bit like the awesome oscillator on pocket options. You can see when it loads back up, it's thinking about it. Similar as well. Come on. I don't know why it's so slow. Same thing with here, and you get more of a nice momentum. So, you know, if we're looking at this here, this is a really good example on this one. I know I'm backtracking, but we can see we came up, we had nothing but green, 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 green. We broke the Bollinger Band, which is what I like to see all the time. We had a little pullback wick. It wasn't an engulfing candle, but what I can start to see and take place is that, yes, we're falling on the oscillator, which is really important. And these candles are now starting to turn red, and we can see that they're getting smaller. So, you know, ideally for me, it's not a perfect setup. Like, we didn't really break hugely above like this one in the Bollinger Bands. So, but still that one there, following the momentum of the oscillators and also the color on those, is good indications. Plus, you're going through here. When you see gray lines, essentially that just means slight consolidation and or price is starting to no longer move in that direction. I know I'm a little bit staticky, sorry. Almost out of, oh wow, the battery's a little bit low. Can I just I've just got to put the charger on. Is Jess or Danny, do you want to just continue with anything just at the moment while I quickly find my charger?
I don't really have much to add, Jess.
I don't have much to add.
All right now.
Is anyone actually using Liberty yet? Like, from that was on last week, that usually uses TradingView. Like, I'm new to Liberty too. Like, I've obviously used TradingView my whole time, so I'm still playing around with it. But obviously, like Dom said, we're just finding, like, people are already paying for IM. Like, we're all paying for IM. So we're like, why do we pay for another thing when we can just use this? So the fact that we've been able to find this, and it even has some extra stuff like with the dots and stuff, which is really cool. But yeah, I'd love to know if anyone else is playing around with it. Does anyone want to share anything?
I was actually going on the higher timeframes and marking up points of interest on my TradingView.
Yeah.
And then using Liberty as a cross reference.
Okay.
So using both rather than just getting rid of TradingView. Just obviously last week was my first look at it. So you know, whether I stay down that path or,
and exactly, it is a new thing.
Enjoying
Especially
seeing
been trading for a long time using TradingView. It is a bit of adjustment, but yeah, I think, like, I'm still using both at the moment too, because I'm like, when I'm actually taking a trade, but I'm trying to get to know this a lot more, because I can just see, you know, the value of being able to use something through IM, especially for you guys if you're, you know, doing the business side and have clients and stuff not doing the business, like, to keep them subscribing and using IM. Like, it's just giving more value with that. Obviously the live trades as well are awesome. But yeah, so I don't have much to say on this because I'm still learning a lot of it, but I love that a lot of the setup is done for you. We didn't have to add too much like we did like I had to when I had TradingView. The other thing too on the compounding wealth, like that video that Evan does is really good. But you can even just go into Google and put compounding wealth, and there's a calculator that comes up, and you can put in an amount, and it will show you how much that amount over a certain amount of like period will turn into. And it's really quite amazing, like how, you know, $100 can turn into six figures. So yeah, definitely big on the compounding. Just find, oh look, he's got his coming up, awesome. So yeah, and also if you don't have like get a spreadsheet, like really like have some control, just like if you have your trading plans and stuff, like have a plan for your money, like have a plan for what you're trading and what you want to get out of it, because the more you know, clear on that you have, like the, you know, just like anything in life, when you have a clear target, you're going to get there a lot faster than just sort of, you know, oh, I'll do 3 trades today, I'll do 2 trades today. Like just having a bit more of a plan, I think is really important.
It is 100%. And that was like I was saying to a couple of people that are not quite grasping the concepts. What's interesting is all those people are actually, they're making trades. It's just one, they're compounding the way that they're increasing their trade slightly, making sure that we're banking a little bit, slightly getting more on the increase on the size. Therefore, we are growing. But then also understanding, you know, when you are losing a couple, how to walk away. Very important. If I lose 2 trades in a row, I don't trade anymore. Jess is the same. I told her the same thing. Come back in a couple hours time, or just don't trade for the rest of the day, right? Whatever it is. And also having an idea of what it is that you want to get out of. Now, this is the same compound sheet that we got given with FRX. It works the same. You obviously don't need to worry about the lot sizes in this. I just simply have my dollar amount that I was starting with. This is just the one that I send to everyone. So if you'd like it, I can make sure that I get it out to people. And then you put whatever your percentage growth is what you want. Now, this is powerful. Now, obviously with that, it shows what you need to get for that day, right? So it's $50. Very simple. If I don't need to get $50, then, you know, if I'm doing a $60 trade on a 90% payout, roughly, that's about $50. If that's what I've got wise. If not, and I know I need to make $50, I don't want to risk that much, I decrease, then it's 2 trades, knowing what I need to do, right? Having a set targeted amount. Now, this obviously works a lot better for someone who doesn't really need the daily wage. You know, this is someone that's growing something, creating a super, creating a nest egg for themselves. But, you know, you might have targeted where whatever it is, $500 for the day. Okay, what do I need to get for the 500? Just adjust it as you can, but you got to be consistent and disciplined because you can, like, it's not like FRX where you got to set a trade for 4 hours, you know, or 12 hours overnight, like I used to do. And you don't get that instant gratification, because this, you can get it within 30 seconds or 15 seconds if it's OTC. And that, you know, that dopamine hits in and you can sit there and it's like going to the pokies, and we don't want that. You've got to be able to walk away. I'm very conscious of the people doing that. So that's the compound one. I just really quickly though, while we come back, because I know not everyone's on this. So we're still looking at this same pair. So if we were looking at that as our setup, what happened here before, you know, we came down, we broke the Bollinger Band once or twice. But if I was watching this is what I call the fake out. I see it a lot. I want to speak about it again. Is, yeah, we penetrated the Bollinger Band here and we came out. Then the next candle prints and it comes up. So therefore you're thinking that, oh, well, we should be getting in here. But what needs to be taken note of is, one, how the candle prints. It's why I don't go straight away on the next candle. Yes, we had a candle that came up, but it didn't break above, didn't close above. It's rejected back down. We know that by the wick it's above, but we still see here, like we still got pressure to the downside. We haven't had that bounce yet. And the candle that printed on there was still red. These little mountains, here, essentially when the mountain is bright red, we have got strong selling pressure. So all that redness is for these 4 or 5 candles that came down here, right? When it starts to go black, like that shaded black over the red, that means now we're starting to see some consolidation, which coincides with the gray bars here, meaning that we are starting to flatten out. Now, they didn't start to print until we got to here. We can see that this next candle come, it wasn't an engulfing candle. Ideally, if I can get that engulfing candle, then the next one prints back down to 50%. I buy in there for this particular moment. So what I mean by that is, if that candle printed all the way up to here, awesome, engulfed it. For those who don't know, means just as bigger. And then the next candle prints, comes down to that little 50% for mitigating out. And then I get the reaction that I want of going for the buy on this particular motion. But we could still see here enough. This is why I love the indicators, because they help with that area where we take out the guesswork. Gray bars form, price stagnation. Awesome. We see this shit candle form here. Another really crap one there. But in saying that, if we'd gotten in on this candle, because that's that rejection, we're seeing the rejection wick, we go in for a buy 2 to 3 minutes, because my candles are nice and big, so healthy with nighttime movement. 2 to 3 minutes, and you had no problem. It's come up. And you know, you also had the signal there for a sell off here. But I don't like to just go in between. I don't like to trade in between the bands. Yes, sometimes I'll do off the EMA, but we're pretty much consolidating. Like, it's not a huge movement down or a huge movement up. So yes, it's slightly trending down, but I need to see those real significant pull downs or ups. But that's sort of it, to sort of understand how I use this. This is really powerful, right? So, and we already have it. It's included in our membership. So make sure you make the most of it. Anything else?
So, what other confirmations do you use when, like, say if something's there, like you're explaining, do you wait for the stochastic to come? I think you said in that last video, to come back down out of oversold or whatever.
This prime example that we're talking about here, because this is really good, and the dots as well. So I spoke to you over the phone about this. I don't know what the dots are, but they just act as like basically the support and resistance again of where that's going. And when you watch it live, like we can see the dots that are forming here, right? If we were to print a candle and that goes above this dot line, the dot then flips. And I look for that close, very important. And we've got the time over here, like TradingView. I want to see that dot flip and close. And then I watch the next candle print to see that movement. Like we can see here, we've had rejection wick. So 2 massive wicks to the upside, and they've pushed back down. So just based on watching this candle, this should present for us a fall away. Do we have that included here? We've got gray, which is getting smaller, which means that our buying pressure was full, and now the buying pressure is getting shortened. So this should indicate a fall coming down. Plus, we're starting to form a red mountain. So those confirmations just mean now knowing that. But again, you don't rush in, because it can do whatever it wants. We need to see things take place. Plus, it's consolidating anyway. It's shit price action. But going back off this, what I want to look for is, as I already said, breaking the Bollinger Bands. I want to see how is the current wave oscillator going through, and then, you know, seeing what's happening in the, I don't even know what these are called. I forgot what they're called. Sorry about that, but it shows you don't need.
Did you add that in? I don't have that
They're all
one.
preloaded. They're all preloaded. You're just probably in the wrong strategy. It's called Simple Scalper.
Oh, that's the second one.
Strategies here. And they all look good, but I just find that one to be the best one, combining with the account here. Now, if we're going on that same Euro USD and that same price action we're looking at before, which is right here, what else am I looking for? Making sure, because the Bollinger Bands are set slightly different between this and Liberty. So for those who haven't got this preset, my Bollinger Band setting is 20 and 2. Right, so 20 and 2 for deviation and period, 20 period, deviation 2. Now that's just set so it's extended the Bollinger Bands to a wider width. So when we do get penetration, generally, and it's a close above, so like this one here, closed outside the band quite significantly, then we get the bounce. But I need to see these oscillators starting to move into, yes, into our area of interest here. And do I get the same confluence with the volume candle bars here? That's pretty much it. So you've got 1, 2, 3 and 3 on each. And if I happen to get a buy or sell signal actually pop up on Liberty too, well, then that's even better. But just by back testing like these Bollinger Bands, like you can see how many times they penetrate, get a closure, and then it falls away. Same thing again, penetrates, wasn't a full closure, but a nice healthy rejection wick, and then falls down. So when they do come out, you've got that short period of time. So if you're doing like a 2-minute trade, you can see these trades, you're going to clear 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. This is why it is a little bit dangerous, because you can sit here and do like lots of trades consistently. Yeah, just make sure we be really patient, because you can get this, which is, but what we can see here, based on what we see there, it's not oversold. I see some people get this, they see the close, boom, and then we go in for a sell thinking we're going to get that bounce, but it's just rode the Bollinger Band. So we need to see this, don't rush, and we want to see this angle down and come in. And ideally, like I said, engulfing candle would be fantastic to be able to get that trade in. And if you look to the downside as well, just back testing again, strong down motion here, come out. There's our engulfing candle. That one's really good. Bang, it's gone off. So look, there's plenty of opportunities in this market with this, being consistent, knowing your target, knowing what you want to get. If you get a couple wrong, go back to your demo. It's easy to swap between live and demo. It takes just that click. I find this broker to be a lot easier to use than MT4 and a lot faster. We've gone for 45 minutes. I don't really want to go much longer. So any last questions?
I just want to reiterate with that Evan Cabral compounding method. That's super aggressive. So if you're new to compounding and your mindset isn't quite there, I'd suggest using that spreadsheet to be slow and steady, because he's basically using all of his winnings and just compounding, and he's got to hit 2 or 3 in a row or walk away. So, you know, it's a really good thing to watch, but you do need the mindset in the right spot, or to understand compounding completely to actually implement it.
Pretty sure in the HFX Academies in the video, I remember there being one, it's like a yellow one, it's like 25.
Yeah, that's one that I just showed the favorite. It's because the academies are from the favorited videos of the trainers. That's how they make them. So that's what it is. But it's just, there's a couple others in there that's really good. So going through all of his favorited sessions, you know, is something I'd recommend if you're finding yourself just not fully sure, or you want a bit more information to come through. Now, one other thing I wanted to add is these two, because they did a call recently. I'm hoping they put it onto the favorited sessions. This is another one I want you to go look at. This is a duo, and they actually went through the they went through all the strategies. But these ones here, go through these guys. I'll just double check. What I'll do is I'll take a photo and of the dates, because you can search by date, and he goes through all those strategies that I went through, all 4 of them, and explains all the indicators, explains what it is. I've kind of done a summary, but sometimes some people like that secondary, third tap of information come through and said it in a different way. And he breaks down all the indicators as in what they're exactly designed for. I don't even know what some of the names are, so apologies for that. But again, you don't even be a smart person to work out how to do this. All right, that'll do us, team. That'll do.
Thanks, guys.
I'll obviously have it
Thanks.
recorded and I'll put it up on YouTube as well. So then that way, if you know, because I know a lot of this information is a lot to take in. If you need to listen to it again and go through it again, you can. All
Can
right.
you post it in the group chat too?
Yeah, I'll post the link in the group chat. If you could like, share, and subscribe, guys. I'm kidding. I'm not.
Can you also, guys, if there's actually specific things you want us to go over like weekly and stuff, like make sure you tell us, because this is really for everyone on here.
Yeah, we want to make this interactive. I know there's a lot of me talking, but there's a lot of like new shit, so I understand. But we do want to be able to get to a point where it's like, boom, 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 boom. And for the times when we get really confident the organization keeps growing in this area, this call will eventually just be live trades. You know, we all get together, someone shares their screen, like, bang, here's an opportunity, because that's what they're doing in some other places, and that's going to be really, really cool because we're just all profiting, having a good time, bit of banter, and yeah, that's the plan moving forward. But we need to make sure.
It'd be cool to see some screenshots of your trades with all the indicators as well, so we can sort of see where everything's at when you actually enter.
Yeah, well, I'll take the like I tend to trade between 2 and 6, so not this window. It's a bit too crazy for me, but I'll do that for sure, and I'll flick some through.
Just to see how like where you enter and what all the indicators are looking like at that.
For sure.
Like not so much the copy.